can I just take this napkin? I'll pay you some money for it. He's like, it's going to be 30 grand. And she's like, but it's a napkin. And he goes, no, it's 30 years have led me to be able to draw this on this.
Welcome to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa, brought to you by Elite Consulting Partners. It's the only podcast offering unfiltered guidance and a direct advice for all things concerning financial advisors, RIAs, and the practitioners in the wealth management business. And now, welcome to the show.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. Here we have, I'm Stacey Frank and Sue Cheema, our Chief Information Officer.
Thank you,
Stacey Frank, Executive Vice President of Sales. We are hosting this episode. We have one of our creme de la creme,
Jedi Council,
Chief Information Officer Sue Cheema with us today, and we are really excited to speak with our listeners. Thanks for always being a great audience. We always love your questions. Thanks for pinging us, sending us emails, liking our Instagram and all of our social media accounts. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So for today's topic, we're going to leverage Sue's expertise. And a lot of this is practical use in conversations that we're actually having with independent practices, RIAs. Sue has been doing this her entire career. She's the go-to person in the industry. I don't know of anybody better. So with that said, the topic for today is called future-proofing your tech stack. What do advisors and RIAs need to know? So we're going to make this conversational, obviously, really, really beneficial. So take some notes. I'm just going to ask Sue some questions. Mm-hmm. These are questions that we often ask our actual clients or questions that we get from advisors that we work with on a regular basis. Yeah. So you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
As ready as I can be.
Okay. So, look, with an ever-changing industry, technology, I feel like if you blink sometimes, technology is out of date. That happens with our phones. It happens with our laptops. Like, wait, didn't I just purchase that?
Yeah.
Especially if you are a business owner in financial services, technology is always evolving and always changing.
Yeah.
So, Sue, question number one is, how do you know if or when your tech stack might be holding you back? Is your tech stack holding you back? What do advisors need to know?
What I find as a commonality between advisors that have not optimal systems is that they are decentralized, siloed platforms, meaning I'm entering the same information, oftentimes, I'm entering the same information in 5 different platforms. And so it's redundant, lending to an inefficient process. So that's one. Oftentimes, advisors are not using newer, cheaper, evolving technologies. And so they bought a platform 10 years ago. It hasn't really scaled up. The makers of this platform haven't really taken advantage or compounded the evolution that's taken place in technologies. And so it's kind of like stale and stagnant. And then lastly, there are gaps everywhere in their processes, which is like, hey, I'm doing this here, I'm doing that there. And so even if you take 30 seconds between each platform that you're switching, inputting, 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes between platforms, an hour adds up. And you're at the end of the week, you're spending hours in doing the same thing that you could have done so much better if the systems were connected and there were workflows in the back end that were supporting human resources doing some of this stuff.
So what can, our listeners, the advisor community, what can they do? How can they know, by working with someone like yourself?
Yeah.
What can you do? I always say, just let Sue put her eyes on your systems and what you're doing. Let her look at your processes, your workflows, all those big words that we use. My favorite
I love
words.
it.
But what can an advisor do in working with you specifically that says, I might need an overhaul. I might need a facelift on my Texas. Do you guys use that word? I might need a whole reorg of my system.
Right.
What can they expect from you?
Take a step back. Strategize. What are oftentimes when you're looking at newer platforms, people get excited and they want all the bells and whistles. What is the core simplified system processes that you're hoping to optimize? Let's start there. Align with a platform that you see optimizing and growing with your firm and outside in the next decade, meaning investing in artificial intelligence as one of the major...
That's probably a big one, right?
Right.
AI is probably a really big one.
Exactly. How do you automate some of your repetitive tasks? Which platforms can deliver on that? How can it touch the most internal users and external clients? And lastly, what platform is accessible, meaning maybe it's mobile friendly, so you can carry it in the palm of your hands, you can update it as you're going, and then user friendly, right? That helps adoption.
Yeah.
So take a step back. What's important to my firm? Where do I see my firm growing? How do I see my firm growing? And then align with a platform that kind of scales with your firms.
Yeah, I think just in layman's terms, because again, Sue is the expert here, but so I'm just like let's speak at a first grade level. But for me, in the RIAs and the advisors that I've spoken with, let's take a CRM for example. Yeah. Is it really just a holding tank of data?
Yes.
Which is great. You need to have that, and we've come across, and maybe we address this next. Can't even believe this exists. Clients, advisors that really just have their CRM as a place to hold data, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
That data doesn't dance, right? We use that analogy.
We did a podcast on it.
Right, your data doesn't dance. So, which is fine, and if that's the level of sophistication you want for your business, that's okay.
Right.
But if you're trying to achieve certain things, then this is where, Sue, you would come in to say, we can do, so we have a client right now, let's pivot to this, that all of their client data, their follow-up tasks, their notes are literally just sitting in the notes section of their firm's CRM.
Yes.
And so we talk about that key man risk or woman risk, female advisor, that if, God forbid, that advisor decided to sell or move or something happened, what does your staff do with a system that's just there to hold data if they want to progress with it and have it help them automate tasks or processes or help them make better decisions about their business? Right. So going from here, we have this client that uses a system that just holds data to transitioning them to something more sophisticated because they have goals of growth. What do you suggest there? What do you do?
It's funny. We, Stacey, we did a podcast on change management. Essentially, like, change is so hard for people. And it gets so overwhelming when you do it in an overhauling way, right? So take it in small steps, just like in life, right? Do it in small steps. Make simple yet impactful changes. And over time, you'll see your entire tech stack slowly modify and transform, better aligned with what's to come. So with some of the advisors, something that keeps me up at night when I'm talking to these advisors, even prospects, right, is the key person risk. I mean, some people have a lot that just is up in their head and it's never translated into anything within a CRM.
Or a notepad.
Or a notepad, right? I mean, what if you leave it somewhere? Or God forbid, right? God forbid. Here is all this important, relevant, data-driven intelligence that's just lost. So even if you're not like thinking on, hey, I really want to invest and grow, like think about how much information a person is holding within a firm and what would be the impact if that person was to leave tomorrow for whatever reason.
Right. Right. No, that's and this is an actual scenario.
It's an actual
we're
scenario,
working on, and
yeah.
you're encouraging them. But I love your example. Do it in small doses. This making that kind of a change could just be incremental.
Oh my God, I can't do it. Exactly.
Right. It's overwhelming. There's an emotional tie to it. It messes up the routine that you've always known.
It does.
But you're also putting yourself and your firm and
at risk.
At risk.
Yeah.
So, awesome. No, this is really important. So, why don't we talk about today's top firms? What do they have in their tech stack without, becoming biased towards one system versus another? What do you have, whether it's portfolio management, CRM, reporting, marketing automation, cybersecurity? Today's top firms, maybe make some, put it out there. So what are they utilizing and why?
Yeah. What I find as far as CRMs are concerned, first of all, everyone is running towards artificial intelligence, right? Like any platform that incorporates artificial intelligence is looking ahead, not kind of staying back or stagnant. So CRMs, what I see most of the top firms tends to be Salesforce, right? It's just top tier. It has a lot of value. A lot of the firms, when, Adpar, Canoe, some of the alts, right? Artificial intelligence is, I know Adpar is introducing ways to do alts within their, which is performance reporting. So if you're talking about data visualization, a lot of financial advisors are starting to leverage data analytics, right? Kind of combining various data sources into big one pool and then creating visualization based off of that pool of data. So I think that's where the top firms are kind of excelling, because their decisions, their data is presenting a value. They're making data-driven decisions, analyzing everything that they can, from KPIs to user behavior to client behavior to market behavior, right? And kind of incorporating and creating this holistic view of how to move forward better.
Wow. I mean, so when someone comes to us as a potential client,
right,
you would walk through, all the different things that they like about what they're using at their current firm, how it's advantageous to their business. Because just because you're at firm A doesn't mean that your business is going to excel or be thriving with the systems that they provide.
Right.
So you could walk them through that kind of an exercise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We could sit down and see what their tech stack looks like today, where they see themselves 5 years, or where they want to be, technically speaking, within their tech stack in 5 years, and kind of create a strategy to get them there within 5 years. Now, something that, again, keeps me up at night is, even when we talk about succession planning, right? A firm is hey, I'm going to be, in the market to sell my business in 5 years, right? What is the impact of artificial intelligence if you're not using systems and processes? Is the buyer going to look at your book of business and say, wow, there's a huge key person risk. There are Excels here. And how can I do this better? How can I work with this book of business in a better way?
Wow. No, I mean, this is a huge value add service that we provide. Technology is never going away.
It's not.
The decisions and the businesses that we see that are being built all have to, decision number one is going to be technology. You can't operate without it.
It's going to become more immersive.
Even more so.
Even more so. Think about how we're gathering information today from where we were gathering. Everything is in artificial, everybody's using ChatGPT, right, or a form of artificial intelligence. Right. So it's going to become more and more immersive.
Right. So even more so.
Yeah.
With my guess is, and I'm not the technology expert like you, but my guess is with the advancements of AI,
right,
that if your systems aren't able to support those efforts, it probably would become a really disjointed experience for
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe touch on that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, this is not like we consider ourselves platform agnostic advisors that don't want to be in some of these forward-looking platforms. Is totally, they are where they are. But some of the platforms that we support today are just not catering to what's ahead. And like small things like an advisor that, is a client of ours is looking for email notifications like, hey, task management, right? I have a task for onboarding a client. Can you send me an email notification? I just want to know that it's outstanding. Couldn't do it through the system, right? It's as simple as like keeping it organized where advisors need to be organized and the way their preference, like catering to their preference of organization. Some platforms do better than others. And it's just like, why would you not invest in the platforms that do better than others?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, like any of our podcasts, is being in the know. At least
being in the know.
Be in the know, have the information, and that's what we're really here. And maybe we convince you that the systems that you have, the processes you're right on track.
Yeah.
Or maybe you make some,
simple
modifications that can make a huge difference in the growth of your business or the efficiency of the processes that you have in your business.
Right.
So. Okay, awesome. This question is interesting, is, how to evaluate new tools without being overwhelmed. We kind of just touched on that, but are you choosing technology based on your needs or based on vendor promises? Maybe you can touch on that.
I think that's a lot of times, like when advisors are going through the sales process and the sales pitches, right? All the bells and whistles seem much more exciting than the core platform itself. And what I remind a lot of advisors is just because you have 20 fields on a page doesn't mean the data gets inputted, right? Like,
there's a lot of like empty
fields because it's like, oh, why not? Well, somebody has to be accountable to input that data because then otherwise, why?
It's wasteful, right?
It's wasteful,
right?
Like it's serving no purpose, and it's actually it's creating a user experience that's like, oh, no one's using it. Why should I input my information in here, right? So it's almost like an adverse impact rather than a positive impact forward. So keep it minimal, keep it simple, keep moving forward. And the way I often tell advisors is use platforms that are investing in themselves. Constantly investing in themselves. Like some of the platforms that we work with have thousands of, tech staff that are like constantly building, improving. Invest in that platform because that's going to be around as you're scaling and growing.
Wow. These are all things that advisors should be thinking about on when you're having your quarterly or your annual, even your monthly planning meetings. Technology, these topics that we're addressing here should always come into play. You should always be evaluating, what's the purpose of what you're doing and thinking a year, 3, 5 years ahead. Because like we said before, technology gets outdated so quickly. I can only imagine are some of the common AI functions that we use today, like when are they going out with the dinosaurs? I don't know.
Exactly.
That was a good question. Anyway, okay. So just really we touched on AI, not necessarily running towards the shiny feature, what's the next best thing, because we could get sort of pigeonholed into that mindset as well. Like, oh, this other firm that I know, they're a multi-billion-dollar RIA, they're using XYZ. I need to get that too. Yeah. But your purpose and your goals could be totally different from that firm, even though it sounds, extra sexy and shiny. But so maybe touch on that.
Keep it simple. Quick. Right. Like just align with your goals, lay them out, and then partner with someone who has done some of this stuff, right? So why do people go to financial advisors? Because they're experienced and know a lot about how to make investments and grow their clients' money. When you partner with someone like in consulting, right, who has done implementation, has worked with SaaS platforms, there is a trust in the experience that is I'll tell you a small story.
Yeah.
Which is nothing to do with technology, but I think it'll prove a point. There's a story that Picasso was painting. He was sitting in a coffee shop and he painted on a napkin, and it was so beautiful. So the woman came over to him, and she said, "Can I just take this napkin? I'll pay you some money for it." He's like, "It's going to be 30 grand." And she's like, "But it's a napkin." And he goes, "No, it's 30 years have led me to be able to draw this on this." Right?
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't just he just sat there and drew it. It was a ton of experience that he's kind of helping him transform, just like with a pencil and a napkin, right? So it's just experience has some positive attributes that people bring, and we are experienced in that sense to be able to say, hey, maybe not this way, but that way.
Well, that's a great analogy there. I mean, just because it's something that seems simple,
right,
doesn't mean that it can't be uber effective.
Correct.
But so there's that fine line between the napkin analogy, which I love, I love it, and being, staying ahead of the curve with technology that can make sure that your business is growing and thriving, staying ahead of the times.
Correct.
So there's sort of that seesaw conversation about this.
Yeah, and why not consult someone who's done it a couple of times, right? It's only going to benefit your firm.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, I think this is we love having you here, Sue. We're so privileged to be able to offer this service. It's a game changer for Elite Consulting to be able to really truly work with advisors holistically at all phases of their business. I always say advisor business is A to Z. And Jedi and all the consulting and expertise that you bring definitely fills in the alphabet. So,
by the way, Stacey is my mentor in any sales calls that I'm on.
Consulting discussions.
Yes.
But anyway, technology is huge. It's here to stay. It's a component of your business. We'd love to offer you some consultation about, is your tech stack serving you, or is it inhibiting you? Is it helping you grow, achieve your goals? And it's really just a conversation with Sue and I together to help you figure that out. So if you want to reach Sue, have some time with her, how would you do that?
Please email me at suecheema@eliteconsultingpartners.com.
And your number
is 516-724-6372.
Or you can reach out to me. It's Stacey at eliteconsultingpartners.com. Stacey, don't forget the E. Or at 856-816-6322. As always, we appreciate you listening. Reach out to us with questions. And we look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. If you're looking for more advice or solutions on any topics relating to the financial services industry, or just want to subscribe to our podcast, head on over to eliteconsultingpartners.com/podcast.